you have to say to yourself every day, everything always works out for me. So that's the first belief that I have that kind of guides the way when I get into situations that are not going my way. Everything always works out for me. It's a belief. It's not like just a saying that you just open up and when you need it randomly. It's something that you have to embody. And for the majority of us, if you look back over your life, you'll see that has been true. Like there was never a need to get all up in arms and lose self-control because things always work out. And so things always works out for me. Everything always works out for me is the first belief that I've embodied that helps me to maintain control when things are not going right.
Optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health.
How do you maintain control when it seems like everything is going wrong? That is the very first question I'm going to answer today during today's live Q&A. I am so happy to be back with you. I'm Lisa A. Smith. Welcome back to Monday Morning Keynotes with yours truly, founder of Clarity, where we work to eliminate chronic stress for current and aspiring entrepreneurs, where we help you to optimize your health and most importantly, live a life of radical obedience. Welcome back to another special Monday Morning Keynote where today I'm going to be joined by individuals from the Clarity community as we do a live Q&A and a special gold handle gathering. I have a question though that was asked last week. And I said, since we're doing a live Q&A this week, I will answer that question live here during this morning's Monday Morning Keynote. So we're going to have guests today. I invited some people to come on who want some live coaching around business, around personal development, around health, and around growth. Okay, y'all, let's get into this first question. And then we're going to start inviting some guests up here on YouTube to ask their questions and get into some live coaching sessions. So last week I was on here and I told a story about a wild time I had when I was traveling to Tennessee recently. And after I told that story and we had a good discussion about just the consequences of disobedience, you guys were making comments and submitting questions. Well, one of our community members, shout out to Lisa, submitted a question. And I'm going to read her question and I'm going to answer it before we invite guests on this morning. Okay. So Lisa said, I need you to tell the story again, but I need to know what you did to not completely lose it at the car rental booth. She said, I am so serious. I have made strides in strengthening my emotional intelligence, but all I could do was listen to the rest of the story. Because after you return from printing your license and they still said no, that's when I would have lost all memory of the next couple of events. I would have flipped the script, the counter, the lobby, etc. God still had the solution, but you had to remain in the headspace to get there. So she said, that is my next level, emotional growth, and I want to get there. I really need help with that. Okay. So Lisa wants to know, when everything is going wrong, how did I maintain my cool during this extraordinary series of events that happened to me while I was traveling a couple of weeks ago? So for those of you who also want support with your emotional control, when things are not going your way or when you're getting frustrated, how do you maintain a level of control? There's 3 things. I want to give you a practice and 2 beliefs for those of you who also struggle with staying in control and staying calm and peaceful when things are not going right. The first is my practice of meditation. So I meditate every single day, y'all. Every single day I meditate. And I do it first thing in the morning upon waking. I personally prefer guided meditations. I don't do a whole lot of silent meditation. So I prefer guided meditations. And I remember when I knew it was working, because one of the things I had to learn about meditation is that the evidence that meditation and mindfulness practice are working is not by what happens during the meditation or during the practice, is by what happens outside of the meditation and outside of the practice. So I remember several years ago, very similar situation. I was traveling and things weren't going right. So I flew into New York to attend an event, and I got to my hotel right in the heart of New York City. And it was late at night, so it was dark outside. You guys know New York streets ain't always that safe. And I go up to the front desk, hey, checking in, Lisa A. Smith. And they're like, we don't have a reservation for you. And I'm like, what? I got the confirmation email. I got everything. And they're like, no, we don't have a reservation for you. And I'm like, what happened? So I pulled up the confirmation. I showed it to them. They found the reservation. They was like, oh, it was canceled. They were like, it was canceled because we tried to charge your card and the payment failed. And I remember like the day before or 2 days before getting a fraud alert from my bank. And so I guess I ignored it, or I didn't accept it fast enough, or whatever it was. So I never really addressed it. So apparently when they tried to charge me for the room and it didn't go through because of the fraud alert, they just canceled the reservation. And so I remember standing there at the hotel counter, and there was just like this extraordinary wave of peace that came over me. And I'm just like, well, we're about to figure this out together. Because she was like, not only do you not have a reservation, we don't have any more rooms. Like, we're booked. She was like, well, the only rooms we have are like the penthouse suites or whatever, VIP suites, right? The really, really expensive rooms. And she's like, we're completely full. There's some events in town and your reservation was canceled because your card didn't go through. And so I remember standing there. And at this time, I was knee deep in my meditation. I had been meditating for a while. And I remember standing at that counter with that lady looking me in my face, telling me I didn't have a reservation. And I remember just thinking like, well, we're going to work this out. So ma'am, what can we do? Like, let's figure this out together because I need somewhere to stay. I'm not about to be wandering these New York streets trying to find another room. I don't think I had a car rental. So I also didn't have a car. So anywhere I wanted to go, I would have needed to do ride sharing. So transportation wasn't super easy. I needed to have a destination if I ordered a car because I didn't have a car on my own. And so the only option was this hotel that I was standing in. But this lady was telling me I didn't have a reservation. And I remember just not feeling any panic. I remember not feeling angry. I remember not feeling overwhelmed or scared or worried. I just remember saying, well, is there anyone else you can talk to? This was, an accident. I didn't know you guys were going to charge me. I didn't respond to the fraud alert, but I really, really need a room, right? And he was like, well, let me go talk to my manager. Let me see what I can do. And I remember he was gone for a while, but while he was gone, I didn't even get on my phone and try and search for anything around me. I'm just like, no, this is where I'm staying. It was very much given, there are no other options. So I'll let you and God figure it out and then come back and tell me what we're going to do. And that's exactly what happened. And I remember getting on the elevator and going up to my room and thinking, wow, this meditation thing really works. Like, wow, you can really just decide how you're going to react in every single instance. Every single instance, you can just decide how you're going to respond to frustration, to things that aren't going right. And ever since that moment, number one, I have not let up on my meditation practice, right? Because that's the only thing I could attribute it to. I was like, why is my disposition so calm right now? And I don't have a room in New York City at night. I need to get to bed. I got this event tomorrow. And so number one, for me, that was evidence that the things that I have been feeding my subconscious mind were working. So having a mindfulness practice that, number one, helps you stay in the present moment and not get all in your head, get into the future, start panicking. But then number two, something that begins to shift your disposition, like your response to life, right? Because in every given moment, we all know this intellectually, you have a choice. You can either react or you can respond. And so really taking that time out every day to be still. And this is essentially why the Go Handle Club was born. For those of you who don't know, the Go Handle Club is my newest coaching experience that's delivered through a morning ritual. And that's why the Go Handle Club was born, because of how powerful and impactful that daily stillness practice has worked for me. in how I respond to life. Like I'm no longer a reactor. I'm now a responder. But that wasn't a switch that I hit. And it's also not how I was born. It was me deciding to become a different person. And when you take that time to be still and realize that you can't bend the world to your will, right? And that was the first belief that I had to embody in order for me to start responding differently to life, right? So the practice is some type of mindfulness practice that forces you to be still and relinquish control on purpose on a daily basis versus getting into the heat of a circumstance and trying to force yourself to relinquish control. What will happen if you relinquish control every day on purpose when things are going perfectly fine? Well, what happens is when you get into a situation where things are not going perfectly fine, relinquishing control becomes that much more easy. So that was the practice. And the two beliefs I want you guys to embody if you're struggling with maintaining a high EQ, emotional intelligence, when things are not going your way is number one, you can't bend the world to your will, right? Like one of the things my mom says, and she teaches us regularly, and she's embodied in me. And she said this during our class this week or recently in Farm to Table. She said, you have to say to yourself every day, everything always works out for me. So that's the first belief that I have that kind of guides the way when I get into situations that are not going my way. Everything always works out for me. It's a belief. It's not like just a saying that you just open up when you need it randomly. It's something that you have to embody. And for the majority of us, if you look back over your life, you'll see that has been true. Like there was never a need to get all up in arms and lose self-control because things always work out. And so things always works out for me. Everything always works out for me is the first belief that I've embodied that helps me to maintain control when things are not going right. And the second belief that I had to embody in situations like that is that you catch more bees with honey. And so popping off, going off, being mean, being rude, all of that stuff, snapping, telling people what they gonna do and who they better go get and all of that. Like, that's not even my swag. I just believe in being kind to people. Even though I'm an introvert, I don't do small talk. I don't do a whole bunch of like extrovert energy activity, but I am extremely kind and I'm extremely nice. And me changing that just because things aren't going my way is now me not being true to who I am, right? It's me dishonoring, it's me abandoning who I say I am. And so I'm not just nice when everybody is giving me my way. I'm kind and I'm nice regardless of the circumstance. And so the second belief is you catch more bees with honey. I just believe that. So if I'm I had to call Avis recently. We still on Avis, y'all. But I had to call them recently about some billing issues. And, I could have been like, you guys did this and it was your fault that I couldn't get a car. And then you go up on my rate and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's just not the way I operate. I'm like, hey, here's what happened. Let me know what you can do and let's go from there. And that's literally my natural disposition with all circumstances that are not going my way. Here's what happened. Here's what I would like to happen. Take it from there. And I'm still giving out please and thank yous and good morning and how are you? I'm not skipping the pleasantries. And so that's just naturally who I am. And I don't abandon who I am when things are not going my way. So I hope that is the A to your Q, Lisa, about maintaining emotional control when things are not going right. Okay, let's sip some tea and let's start our Go Handle Gathering, our live Q&A, live coaching with yours truly. I have some of our community members here waiting in the waiting room. Shout out to Terry and shout out to Dr. Candace. I hope you ladies have your go handles and your questions ready to go. I'm going to bring you up and we're going to talk through some of this goodness. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my two girlfriends here in the Go Handle Club, and we're going to have us a nice live Q&A session. So before I bring them up really quickly, let me make sure I explain again what this is and what's happening. We're about to do a live coaching session, live Q&A. But the Go Handle Club is my newest coaching experience that we released inside of Clarity. And it is a 365-day coaching experience built into a daily morning ritual. So we have a Go Handle. You scan your QR code every day and you get coached by me. And then every Thursday, you come to Go Handle Gatherings, a live virtual session with myself and my team, where we do mindfulness together, and then we support you in getting those moments of clarity that you need to move the needle when it comes to chronic stress and activating radical obedience. And so we have over 120 gold handles that have shipped so far. And I'm super excited to talk through some of our Go Handle members this morning. So good morning, Terry, and good morning, Dr. Candace. What's up, ladies? How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So you ladies agreed to join me for a virtual Go Handle gathering. So first things first, check in. Where's that Go Handle and what we sipping on, ladies?
Let me get it in camera. We
can see it.
I'm sipping on mandarin and lemon warm water.
Okay. Mandarin and lemon warm water. Dr. Candace, what you got?
So I am sipping on warm water and lemon. We're keeping it simple this morning.
Super simple. That's what I started with this morning. Now I'm on my tea, but I definitely started with warm water and lemon, honey. It keeps you young, hydrated. It does wonders for the body. It does wonders for the digestive system. So that's always how we start today. Okay, ladies. So welcome to Monday Morning Keynote. Terry, welcome back. Candace, this is your first time. So let's get into some Q&A and tell me what you got for me. So let me know what area your question is in. Is it business, health, personal development, personal growth? And then shoot from there. Terry, you want to go first?
Sure. Mine was personal development. But check this out, Coach Lisa. In the green room yesterday, I actually got the answer that I needed. I really did. It was very, very good. Coach Milan answered my questions about drifting, because I felt that I was in a mode of drifting. Old things were starting to come back, like not exercising when I'm supposed to be, putting it off for the next day, putting it off for the next time. So the drifting part. And so I sat with that last night, after she spoke, and actually she helped me a whole lot. And just get the I don't feel like it out of my vocabulary. Yeah. That helps out right there. And also too, what you had mentioned to me before about giving my health an assignment. And that's part of my health. So if I want to be around here and stay off these blood pressure meds and keep this lupus from flaring, I need to. It's a non-negotiable. So actually the green room helped me out yesterday. So you could add to it. You can. I know you got something else. But I really got my answers yesterday in the green room.
I am so happy to hear this. Okay. So first, let me explain what the green room is for our YouTube audience. So inside of Clarity, our community dedicated to eliminating chronic stress and activating radical obedience, we have a support class every second and fourth Sunday of the month called the Green Room, right? Where we help individuals optimize their plant-based lifestyle. It's all about making sure your physical health is in the best place possible so that you can do the critical thinking and making the tough decisions to move your life forward. And so yesterday, the name of that class is the Green Room. And so yesterday, Terry attended that class. So Terry, instead of, I can add some sauce to it, but why don't you bless the people and tell them what Coach Milan told you? So you asked her about drifting. You asked her about what to do when you don't feel like exercising, when you don't feel like doing the things, right? And just starting to be more consistent on that. So what was the A to that Q?
So basically that was actually the topic. I didn't even have to ask it. So that's why I say it was so divine. Because on the 7th of April, that was my devotion. Lord, I feel like I'm drifting. And so I was like, she came in with that confirmation. I was like, okay, Lord, thank you so much. But one of the things she talked about was being aware. And so I was like, Lord, thank you that I was even aware that I was drifting. And then also having a structure in place so you won't be drifting. Lay your clothes out. Intend to go, you know what I mean? Because, all that be like, man, I don't even feel like going in there and getting no clothes. But if I have them out and just be intentional and go to bed when I'm supposed to go to bed so I won't be tired to have to work, but have my structure in place. And also making the decision of You just have to do this. You got to do this. If you want to live, you got to do this. And then also to being consistent, not perfect, but being consistent. Even Coach Carmel brought up about like, if you don't do the whole 30 minutes, do 15. Be consistent. So those are the things that she brought to my awareness. And for me, when I sat with this, I get that I don't feel like it out your life. Oh my God, I ride on that bus. I ride on that I don't feel like it bus. And it gets, and then I think about, Coach Lisa, you be in my head forever. And the cost of inaction. What's this going to cost you in a month? How you going to feel? Yeah. Then I wonder, why you so tired during the day? Well, you didn't stop exercising like you're supposed to. So it's a full circle, but I learned so much in that yesterday. So now I'm ready for some more sauce from you.
Well, I love what, Milan told you starting off, right? So planning, right? Like laying your stuff out, doing all that stuff, right? It makes me think of the old adage that we've heard a million times, which is when we're talking about maybe career, dress for the job you want, right? Mm-hmm. And so acting like it's going to happen by being prepared, but also I don't feel like it is a practice in emotional intelligence. So anytime we have something that we want to do, a goal we want to accomplish, like you said, I don't want any more flare-ups from my lupus. I want to keep this blood pressure down and in a healthy place, right? Okay. So now what's required in order to do that has nothing to do with how you feel, right? And so I don't feel like it, if it has been running your life for so long, you have to recognize that that's not an invitation to find a new strategy. Sometimes people want to know, well, can you give me a strategy to be more disciplined? Can you give me a strategy to be more consistent? And the strategy in this case is get your EQ up, get your emotional intelligence up, which means how can I feel lazy, but not be lazy, right? Like, that's what EQ is. It is, I can feel my feelings, whether that feeling is laziness, whether that feeling is disappointment, whether that feeling is fear. I can feel my feelings, but still make aligned, healthy decisions. That's EQ. It's not an invitation to not feel lazy. It's not an invitation to wait until you don't feel lazy. That's probably not going to happen. It is, how can I feel everything I'm feeling and do what is in alignment with the goal? The goal is not to have high blood pressure. The goal is not to have flare-ups from lupus. The goal is to start this business. The goal is to move out of this career into the next one. So the two top things we need is, number one, we have to know what it takes. I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is saying they're willing to do the work that the goal requires without fully knowing what the work is.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've spent the majority of my health coaching career, Terry, teaching them how to reverse or put a condition in remission. And the problem is they've only been taught how to manage a condition. They've never been taught how to put it in remission. And so before you can fix your mouth to say, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, you have to know what it takes. You have to be educated on what it takes. So now that you know, if I want to keep lupus in remission, if I want to keep my blood pressure down, I have to go from a management mindset to a remission mindset. So this takes me working out when I don't feel like it. This requires me to eat a certain way consistently. This requires me to rest when my body's telling me to rest, even though my to-do list is still got things on it. And so now that I know what it takes, you got to know what remission takes. Most people have only known what management takes. Like most people know how to manage being overweight, manage having high blood pressure, manage high cholesterol, manage an autoimmune condition. But do you know what remission takes? And when you learn what it takes, then the next thing you must have is EQ, emotional intelligence. That means I can feel my feelings and still do what it takes.
Wow. Yeah. Sip.
Okay. She called up, y'all. Y'all know what that means. Right. And so I think that's the biggest gap. It's like, there's nothing wrong with us. We've given a premature yes. The premature yes was, yes, coach, I'm ready. I'm like, you this business? You want to come get this work? You want to be an entrepreneur? You want financial freedom? You ready? Yep, I'm ready. And your yes was a little premature, because then when you got behind the scenes and I started showing you what it takes and who you have to become, you like, I didn't know I was going to be that pup. I didn't know I was going to have to put myself in the public eye and open myself up to public criticism. Oh, I didn't know I was going to have a stronger work ethic than I had when I worked at 9 to 5. Oh, I didn't know I was going to have to work on my money mindset because now I got to ask people to pay me and I had an unhealthy relationship with money. See, you said you was ready, right? And you gave a premature yes, because it wasn't until I told you what it takes that you had to reevaluate if you were ready. And so I think for a lot of us, we would save ourselves a lot of grief if we would actually find out what it takes before we go out here saying we ready. Like, okay, oh, you weren't ready to be free of high blood pressure. You was only ready to manage it. Like, don't play with me. You weren't ready to lose the weight. You was just ready to manage being overweight. Like, you know what I mean? So, okay. All right, Terry, something else going to come up for you. Let's go to Dr. Candace. Dr. Candace, what questions do you have for us today, honey?
Okay, let me get back focused. That's why I have to put myself on mute because y'all can see I was over here screaming. Okay, first of all, thank you, Coach Lisa, for this opportunity. Terry, shout out to you. I love you. So my question is about business and really stemming from our farm to table conversation, the download that I got about the next level, about not settling. And so my question for you is, what do you think, or what would you focus on to build? My goal, I have some big goals, but I'm gonna just put it out here. I want to make consistent income, at least minimum 10K a month. And I'm a speaker. Of course, I have the podcast. I have a few digital products. And so what can I focus on first to build that consistency, but also at the same time, not being burnt out? And I know some of the things you just talked about already. That's why I was over here like, okay, or neglecting the current responsibilities because I have current responsibilities that are right in front of me.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to get to 10K a month. Your business is already going. How far are you away from that goal? How much gap do we need to fill?
So I need to fill at this moment 5,000.
Okay, so we need to make an additional 5K. Okay, is that doable from what you currently sell? Like, is it a matter of just selling more of what you already do, or do we need to completely reconfigure the offer?
Reconfigure the offer.
Okay. So it's not about just putting some gasoline on the fire you already got going. It's about starting a new fire. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Because everything I say is going to hinge on that. So I want to make sure you're confident in saying, I don't just need to sell more of what I'm already selling. You're saying, I'm not that confident in what I currently offer, and the whole offer needs to be slightly reconfigured.
Yes, because I've done a masterclass before and I actually created I took some of that material and created a digital product where there were like 3 classes that people could purchase. So it was on demand.
Okay.
Didn't get the response that I was hoping for. And so some other things in the community I was working on opened up. So I was like, okay, over here, the door is open for me to walk through. And so I'm focusing on that, putting brakes on that. But it is something I desire to start back up because of, I enjoy it, and I feel like that would be another means of earning passive income.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I've grown, and there are things that I want to add to what I've done since that time, because it's been a couple years.
But the digital course right now, the digital offering is not what's moving the needle financially. So it's not. Okay. So I don't know if this is maybe too advanced of a question, but I'm going to ask it and we can roll it back if we need to. Do you know if it is a leads problem? I'm not getting enough people in that knows about my offer. Is it a conversion problem? I have enough leads, but I can't convert them to buy from me. Or is it a product problem? I'm converting, but they're not staying. So I sell them, but maybe they use it, but the lifetime value of my customer is too short. Because let me say this before you answer that question, Candace. So keep that. Is it a leads problem? Is it a conversion problem? Or is it LTV problem, lifetime value? Because 2 main ways to earn more money in your business. It's going to be either new money or old money, meaning people that have already bought from me continue to buy from me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So which one do you think is the bigger issue for you? And then which one of those 3 need to be adjusted?
Oh, what a great question. Can you repeat? I think it's number 1. And then I had another thought come, but could you repeat number 1 so I can say, yes, it's clearly number 1.
Yes. About the 2 ways to make money?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So you either start developing or creating more revenue in your business by getting new sales. So new people have never bought from you. You just need more people to buy. Or you can close the gap with that additional 5K by getting the people who've already bought from you to buy from you again. So that means increasing the value of your customer. I mean, they don't just buy and then you never see them again. You have created something that makes them want to stick around for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say, because that makes me think, I have a book. And so I even have merchandise. So I have people that I'm in the community or, through me showing up online and through the podcast, they have bought my book. But then my hope was when I created the course that, okay, they have the book and they can move towards the course. And so I have people that have supported by purchasing the book and merch and things like that. But I would love to have them be consistent, customers.
Okay.
Consistent clients.
Yeah. I mean, we can work on both, but if you already have people, so it's easier to make money from people who have already bought from you than it is to get a brand new person to buy from you for the first time, right? So you can decide on which one of these avenues you're going to take. Am I going to work on the people who have already bought the book and reconfigure an offer for them, speaking to them, or am I going to work on brand new sales? It's up to you. We have either way, but the easiest way is people who already have the book. So if you have a list of people who have purchased the book, they avid listeners of your podcast, they consume you. Now it's about what offer makes the most sense following the book, right? Yeah. And so now it's like, okay, they got the book. Here's a really, really, really good product or service, solves one problem and creates another. Okay. So now that means we say they have the book. What problem did I solve with the book? And what problem did I create with the book? Whatever problem you created with the book becomes the next offer. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And let me give you an example of this in real time with our company, just so you can see it plainly. When I started our plant-based coaching program, Farm to Table, back in 2016, we solved the problem of chronic lifestyle disease. I went through Farm to Table, my blood pressure comes down, my cholesterol is better, I'm losing the weight, I feel so much better, my energy, no more headaches, reproductive health. Thank you, coach. Thank you. Thank you. This is amazing, right? And a lot of those people, they're like, I have to tell everybody I know about this. I want to help people just like this helped me. I got people in my church. I got people in my family. I got people in my sorority. I got people that need this. How do I do what you do? And I'm like, I was just here to fix your health. They're like, no, I want to do health coaching, or I want to make it a side hustle, or I want to quit my whole job and I want to do this. How do I do that? And I'm like, oh, snap. And we started getting more and more people that asked that question, Candace. And so the problem we created was we created a bunch of evangelists that wanted to take what they've learned and experience and make it a ministry and then turn it into a business that they monetize. And so what did I create 5 years after creating Farm to Table was a plant-based coaching certification. So I solved a problem and then I created a new problem and then I created a solution to that new problem. So the overwhelming majority of people who come into our plant-based coaching certification are graduates of Farm to Table, right? So same thing for you. What problem did your book solve? But also the better question to get clarity on the next offer is what problem did it create? And so now they're like, man, I learned this in the book, but here's what I need next. And then you got to decide how you're going to deliver that next offer. Is it going to be a digital course that people never, they never talk to, they never see you? Is it going to be a community? Is it going to be a live coaching experience? Is it going to be a live event? So how do you want to package the next solution? Okay, tell me your thoughts before I say anything else.
Yeah, first thought is I have, what do I want to, I have data. I actually have data. I have data from, because I've done in-person events. I've done, like I mentioned, like a masterclass. And even I did last year I was doing more touch points, whether it was 1 month was in person, 1 month was online. And so I have these data points because I actually sent a survey and just even me taking notes as the ladies were talking about questions they had, which really would be the problem that was created. So in my mind, it's like, okay, going back to that data, going back to, listening to the ladies that were in my, community, because it really was it is a community, it was a community, to listen to hear what it is that they need instead of me assuming, oh, they want a masterclass again, or they want a one-on-one, like but really paying attention to what they're saying, maybe with even with it maybe not being a question, but just kind of them talking through what they need.
Yeah. So you're already crystal clear on the next problem you need to solve for them. Yes. Now you're trying to decide how it needs to be packaged.
Not crystal clear. I think other things were happening, in my business that I took focus to, but I feel like now it's going back to just review the data that I collected from them to then decide, okay, what is it that they really need? What problem do they need to be solved, and how can I solve it? Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay. And also you can very much just go directly ask them, like just flat out, like let's cut to the chase. Like you can do that and try and dissect and look around and blah, blah, blah. Or you can ask your superstars. Like if I wanted to know something about the community and get kind of some flesh out what I wanted to create next and how I wanted to build it, I would come to you and Terry. Y'all super active in the community. Y'all consuming stuff. You're present. Yeah. Cause you got to ask the people who are involved, not the quiet people who are here every now and then. There's certain people in your community whose opinions matter just a little bit more. They carry a little more weight. So you could absolutely do all that. Right. But if you're still engaging with these individuals, just ask them directly, what do you need? So we can start creating much quicker. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you ask them what they need, though, what problem needs to be solved and where do you need your next breakthrough to come from? You can also ask them all the details around that. Well, how would you like to receive it? Mm-hmm. Because you created some digital courses and you said it ain't do what you wanted it to do. People weren't, okay. So instead of thinking in your own way, well, here's what I think I should create, you can also ask them, now, what do you want this to look like? Yeah. Do you want it to look like a coaching program and then we get together? Do you want it to look like one-on-one? Do you want group? Do you want it to look like a mastermind? Do you want it to look like a live event? We just get together once a quarter in person. How do you want this to look? And then we can build the offer around the desires of the people who are already using the service. Talk to your people is the answer. Talk to your people. And you guys have watched me do this in real time and clarity. Y'all be like, well, Coach Lisa, can we get this? And can we get that? And, and I'm like, okay, we can do this. We can't do that. And you co-create with your people and they appreciate it. Just listen, Terry, yesterday after the green room, Milan come texting me talking about everybody is good. Class went well. They now want to know if you'll create a journal, right? A journal for the Go Handle Club. And I'm like, whose business is they minding? They see I'm busy. You know what I mean? And y'all just got the mug. Y'all already now here's what you need to create next, coach. So your people will talk to you.
The journal will be nice.
Ain't nobody asked you, Candace. Talking about a journal would be nice.
We out here.
But your people will tell you what they desire. So now I don't have to just be in the lab what should we do? The people done told you. We need a journal to go with the Go Handle Club every morning when we doing our daily ritual, right? And so now a responsible leader though, Candace, here's what happens. So the people are going to tell you what they want. They're going to tell you how they want it. Okay. Now your responsibility as a leader is now I'm going to look at my capacity and see what's possible. So the resounding answer is y'all absolutely going to get a journal. Y'all might not get as quick as you want, right? Because I got classes at Princeton, right? And I like to do things with excellence. And so you going to get it. Just give me a moment. I got to see what Kiwi's capacity is. I got to see what the business's capacity is. And then we'll discuss. And so asking is not a yes. Asking is getting the data. And then you as a responsible CEO, a responsible founder who has other responsibilities, you look at what your true capacity is. And then you create a timeline for when something can happen. Well, I can't do this for you guys right now, but here's what I can do. And here's what I will do because I value excellence over urgency. And so I'm not going to create anything without a spirit of excellence. That makes sense?
It makes great sense.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Let me ask you something. How much is stress costing you? Is it costing you your energy, your focus, your health, your peace? See, most of us have been told to manage chronic stress, but here's the truth. Managing chronic stress isn't enough. You deserve to eliminate it at the root. That's why we created the Clarity Lab, where stress meets strategy. The Clarity Lab is a 5-day immersive stress focus group. It's an experience that's designed to help you uncover your biggest stress triggers, reframe how you respond to pressure, and build a personalized strategy for sustainable health and performance. In just 5 days, you will walk away better understanding what's at the root of your stress, what limiting beliefs have been keeping you stuck, and more important, how to start moving with confidence, control, and clarity. And the best part, you won't do it alone. You'll be guided by myself and my team of coaches alongside a powerful community on the journey to do the exact same thing. So, if you're ready to stop paying the price of stress and start living with clarity, join us inside of our next Clarity Lab. Spots are limited, but you can secure yours right now at lisaangelsmith.com/Clarity Lab. That's lisaangelsmith.com/Clarity Lab. Clarity Lab is where stress meets strategy. I'll see you in the lab.
I'm going to hold the space and let you think of maybe one or two more questions before I let you guys go. Terry, because I'm going to jump back over to you. We just had this conversation about business. That's the last thing you and I talked about a couple of weeks ago when you were here on YouTube. And so I wanted to revisit that, actually. The last time you were live with me, Terry, you asked me about creating an offer for creating continuing education for nurses and for new nurses. And you wanted to teach and train new nurses with this offer. And so I just wanted to get an update really quickly on where you were and if you had a question that you wanted some support around.
Actually, what I've been working on is the curriculum.
Okay.
That was one of the 3 things that you shared with me to do. And you asked me to draft a proposal. I probably done threw away, I don't know how many pieces of paper because I've never done it before. Mm-hmm. So I've researched and done some stuff, but I am working on that. And the curriculum is coming along. And then also, too, listing 3 to 5 institutions. I did that as well. And then also, too, I'm looking at what the schools are actually teaching about older adults. Because, I mean, if they're teaching it, I don't need it in my curriculum. So really right now, I'm just researching this stuff and working on this proposal. Because I'm like, oh, I never did that before. Also, too, I'm on disability right now. I go back to work June 1st. So I have a timeline. I'm going to be at the bedside for 90 days. Boom, that's it. I had to make a decision, 90 days, because, I just can't do that anymore. And so after that, I want to do remote nursing, which I do it from the home. I gave myself a timeline of 18 months so I can get the business off the line. So I'm working on timelines right now.
Good.
So that's what I'm doing. So that I'm following up. Yeah, I love it too.
Me too. I'm very proud of you for being very clear on what the deadline is and when you want things to get done, when you go back to the bedside, how long you're staying, and when you're going to move into this next season. And such an important step that you're doing that a lot of people skip, especially when they're starting a business or about to put a new offer in the marketplace, is that R&D, that research and development. That is, well, what already exists? Because like you said, if they're already teaching some of this, I don't need to regurgitate it. I want to bring something they're not getting. And so continuing to do that R&D. So the, first 3 to 5 companies that you want to submit your proposal to about you coming in and teaching this content, already knowing what they offer, and then being very clear on what gaps you're filling. That is what makes your proposal attractive, right? Here's what I know about you, organization. And here's what I believe will make you even better. And here's why I am the best reason and way to make you better. This is why you should take me up on my offer. Because I believe yours was just a day-long kind of symposium, right? It wasn't like a multi-week series.
Right.
Okay. And let me just ask you a question just for my curiosity, Terry. Is there any reason why you're making the decision to teach this within an organization that already exists versus an offer that you make directly to nurses and you start your own kind of academy or training for nurses? Any reason for that?
Yeah, it is because I'm in an organization and we don't know how to take care of our geriatric patients.
Okay.
I see it on a day-to-day basis. And so my thing is when a new nurse comes into the organization, part of their orientation is I do a symposium for them. Because we're not properly caring for our elderly. So within an institution, and then get them when they're new in the last semester of nursing school. If we can get them then, then so that's my goal.
Brilliant. Okay. Okay. And so going into these training institutions and certification institutions and education institutions and taking your curriculum in that you believe is not already there. One more thing I'll tell you too. So first of all, make the proposal the last step. Okay. You're still in the R&D phase. And so you're right. You've never done it before. And anytime we've never done something before, like our first to third to fifth draft is going to be real ugly and messy. So allow it to be that. Number one. Yeah. Permission to allow things to be very messy and unorganized and all of that. Like, that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. But do the proposal last, because you're still doing your R&D. And most importantly, you're still kind of putting the bells and whistles on your curriculum, right? So it's going to be hard to put the value that you're bringing into the proposal when you haven't got all the things fleshed out and what you're actually going to be bringing when you do the curriculum. So save that part for last and work out everything else first. And then, there's templates. I don't know if you're using any system, but there's templates on, do you know of Canva?
Yes, I do. I'm a member of Canva, but yes, I've been looking at all that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's templates and there's examples. So yeah, you don't have to start from a blank page, right? So you can get a business proposal template. Yeah. And you can fill it in and look at the different sections and get some creative juices flowing of what you want in your proposal and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Very good. You're so welcome. Any other questions before we move into Q&A in the audience, y'all? Candace, anything else I can support you with?
Yeah, just you said the C word, capacity. And so just, tips on how you decide like what's priority, because I do have a project that I'm working on. And then, of course, I mentioned, I want to increase and not just income, but just impact. And I already have ideas flowing from what you shared already. But how do you determine, okay, this is priority, and then I'm going to spend this amount of time working on, connecting with my community to find out what it is they need and doing that R&D with them before figuring out what the offer would be.
Yeah. So how do I determine my own capacity? Is that the question?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you just said something, which is I'm going to spend this amount of time on this and this amount of time doing this. I don't work like that anymore. That's called time management, right? So I don't manage my time. I'm not saying that in an unhealthy way. I'm saying it as in I don't usually assign a certain amount of time to a task. I assign the task first before I block out time for it, because I don't want to run the risk. This is where quality of work tends to drop. When we try and fit, for an example, a 2-hour task into a 30-minute window. So I don't necessarily assign time to a task. I first decide what task I'm going to tackle, and I try and put it on a day where I have the time freedom. If it's something that requires creativity, if it's administrative stuff or business stuff that's just like more tactical. But if I'm creating content, if I'm creating a keynote, if I'm creating a curriculum, if I'm creating a course or whatever, I don't put time on that. And if it's something that I just want to work on for a short amount of time, I make sure that I revisit. I don't call anything done until I've revisited at least 24 to 48 hours later to make sure, if I know I kind of was rushing when I worked on this last, let me make sure it really is my best work, right? So I use time management for tactical tasks that don't require thinking and creativity. I use task management, which is I don't care about the time. I work till it's excellent on things that require creativity and things that like other people are going to consume. So it's when I'm recording the new coaching program for you guys in part of the Go Handle Club, like that's not a rush and get that done. That is like, take your time, sit here, be with the content, think through the stories you're about to tell, think through the lessons you're about to teach. Let this go on for as long as it needs to. You're on do not disturb. So when a very, word that you probably heard around this, Candace, is deep work. I don't do time management for deep work. Right? I don't do time management for meaningful work, right? I just let God lead and I let it flow. So I'm in flow for that. I don't ever force it. But when it comes to other things that just, it doesn't matter because it's just tactical, then that'll be a time management situation. And so now looking at the projects that you have on your plate and knowing what you want to create, now it's about being clear on what's the timeline for the current project? And realistically, how much time can I give this new project in my business? I need to generate another 5K in revenue. If I can't just turn on a faucet, like let's say you had an email list that was active and you're constantly communicating with your people, turning on a faucet would mean I can just post something and I know they'll buy it. Or I can just say something is opened up for enrollment and there's a deadline for when you can enroll and I know they'll buy it. If it's not that easy and you have to do deep work to figure out how you're going to create another 5K in revenue, then you have to be very, very intentional about what you're going to potentially create. And then what's a realistic timeline? I mean, we want the money now. But if realistically you can't create that with the spirit of excellence right now, then you want to wait until you can. Because one of the worst things you could do is create some mediocre product or service. And then you're compromising your brand identity for money today. But then you can't keep people later because it wasn't the best of the best. And so they'll consume now, but they won't rebuy later. And that's not what you want. So just keep in mind that if you have to create from a blank page, that requires deep work. That should not be time managed. That should be task managed. And then be honest with yourself and the people around you, what you have the capacity for. And if you're not sure how to do something, the who, not how phenomenon is really helpful too. So instead of thinking you have to figure out everything, figure out who can help you. If somebody's already done it, if somebody's already cracked the code, if somebody's already built what you're trying to build, just get the who versus like, I got to learn all this stuff from scratch. You don't have to. Somebody's already learned it. They can give you a shortcut. So what environments do I need to put myself in to just get the shortcut?
I know the who. Okay, thank you, Coach. We all know the who.
You're so welcome. Ladies, thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you. Let's cheers one more time to the Go Handle Club. Boop, 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 boop. Look at Terry with a gold, not a gold spoon. Not a gold spoon and a gold handle, Terry. Why? Why do y'all always...
Don't play. Do not play.
Sis coming on here and flexing every time.
Well, we get that spirit from the excellent spirit we've been taught. That all flowing down. Look at that. Don't play, y'all. Don't play with the spoon.
Listen, do you want to hear something so funny, Terry? Listen, when I was thinking about, I was like, I want to add a little something in the box, right? Before we send out y'all gold handles. And I was looking at gold handle spoons, stirring spoons. But it's not enough room. Y'all see that box. It's tight. Right. And so we don't have, and spoons aren't flexible. So they got to be able to fit comfortably. And so I was had my eye on, I was like, oh, these is it. I want to send some gold handle stirrers so we can make it a whole vibe, but I couldn't fit it into the box. So maybe the next gold handle drop, but that is, you already ahead of the game. So now I gotta step my game up.
Yes. I get it from my mama, as they say.
I get it from my coach. That's so good. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate you. I hope this helped you today.
Very much so. Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Okay, guys, let's spend this last few minutes with some Q&A from you all. While I wait on those questions to come in, I want to encourage everyone who is really struggling with any type of chronic stress, overwhelm. You have an assignment, you know your assignment, but maybe fear is stopping you from moving forward. Maybe imposter syndrome, maybe an inferiority complex, maybe fear of failure, maybe fear of success. I would encourage you to join us inside of the Gold Handle Club. This is my newest coaching experience that we just released. And it is a daily ritual centered around mindfulness. And the coaching experience is embedded here on this QR code on the mug. So you get your Gold Handle, and every day you spend about 5 to 10 minutes with me when you scan the QR code every day and let me coach you through that experience of feeling that overwhelm, that pressure, that need to please. So we do this over the course of 365 days. And it is my proprietary method called the HER method. So we've embedded the HER method for eliminating chronic stress and activating radical obedience into this daily ritual with your mug. So you receive this beautiful mug in the mail and you go through this daily ritual. And again, it is completely based off of my personal experience with having to become someone who could navigate life without losing self-control when things weren't going their way, having to become someone whose health was consistently a priority, having to become someone who every day wanted to wake up and give God a return on his investment, and deciding that radical obedience was the way. And so I've put that process and the things I've done into this daily ritual here at the Go Handle Club. And so we invite you to join us. If you're here on YouTube, the link to learn more about the Go Handle Club is pinned in the comments. If you're watching on Instagram, all you have to do is say the word gold in the chat, and I'll send you the link all about the Go Handle Club if that is something you need support around. And this is the special Founders Edition, y'all. And so we are currently enrolling, our first 500 people into a special Founders Edition, the Imperfect Founders Editions of the Go Handle Club. And so if you want to be on the ground floor of this experience, I invite you to join us. But are there any questions about the Go Handle Club and what it is, what it entails, what that looks like? Please let me know. I'm shipping more Go Handles today. I'm super excited. Welcome to everyone who recently joined us over the last couple of days in the Go Handle Club. Your Go Handles will be arriving soon. And I really want you guys to understand that the change you want to see, if you're dealing with chronic stress, if you're dealing with a lot of insecurities, if you're dealing with a lot of fear, if you're dealing with a lot of pressure to people please, you're not going to wake up one day and all of a sudden be over it. Like, the reason I became a person who was able to navigate challenges without losing self-control, the reason I became a person who executed once I had an idea is because small daily acts that I decided to take that slowly started doing two things. Number one, reprogramming my subconscious mind. And number two, increasing my faith muscle, right? And so that's practice. That's not like, oh, it's just going to appear out of nowhere. And it's also not something you're just born with. You can acquire it, right? But I want to make sure that everybody understands that you have to do something to become a different person. And it's not something that just happens, or you don't necessarily will your way or strong arm your way into doing that. Let's see. Sean says, does the Go Handle Club help with chronic stress? That's exactly what it was designed for, Sean. So the Go Handle Club is a daily ritual. It's a coaching experience that's embedded into a daily ritual designed to help you eliminate chronic stress. So that's what it says, right? The first thing it says when you land on the Go Handle page, gohandleclub.com. And so absolutely, that's exactly what it's for, to help you to eliminate chronic stress. And that's why we put it in a daily ritual that doesn't feel intimidating and doesn't put another appointment on your calendar where you have to show up, right? For that exact reason. Okay. So there's the link again for you, Sean. So yes, absolutely. It's designed to help you eliminate chronic stress. Monique says, do you mind explaining what is the Go Handle Club? If I think it is what I think it is, I would like to be a part of it. Yes, absolutely. So the Go Handle Club is a daily ritual. You receive a Go Handle on a mug, and it has this QR code on it that says scan for your daily moment of clarity. And when you scan this QR code every morning during your morning quiet time. So first of all, it is meant to help you to create a daily consistent practice with being still. Most of us, we jump up and we serve everybody else. We jump up and we start putting out fires. We jump up and we're scrolling or checking email or just being a mom, a parent, a caregiver, an employee, and we're not taking the time to be still with our current circumstance and our current condition. So Monique, the Go Handle Club is designed to, number one, force you to start being still at the top of the day. And so when you scan this QR code every single day, I coach you, and it's usually about 5 to 10 minutes, through a practice that's going to start reversing chronic stress, healing your body and your mind, and helping you to activate radical obedience. And so it's a 3-part curriculum that's embedded in this QR code that's delivered to you on a daily basis with just a few moments of intentional stillness every day. And that happens over the course of 365 days. And so if that's something that you need support with, but you don't want a whole nother event to add to your calendar. You don't want to have to show up somewhere for a couple of hours a week to get coached, but you want to be coached during something that feels easy, and you need to roll back chronic stress. You need to optimize your physical and mental and emotional health. Then that is the place to do it. And one other thing I'll tell you about the Go Handle Club is that my mom, she received her Go Handles literally last week, right? And so my mom, I was talking to her yesterday. I said, Mom, how are you liking the Go Handle Club? Like, you scanning your QR code every day? Are you doing the ritual? Are you sitting still, letting me coach you before you go on to conquer the world? And she was like, yes. And Lisa, I was so surprised at how easy it was, is what she said to me. She said, I was so surprised at how easy it was. And that was such a good testimonial for me as the person who created the Go Handle Club, because that's exactly what it was designed to be, easy for people who already feel overwhelmed. Because it's crazy. It's like you need something to get out of overwhelm. You're not just going to will yourself through it. You need support. You need a coach. You need a community. But you don't need another thing to make you more overwhelmed. So I was like, how can we solve this conundrum, right? How can we give you both the support, the coaching, the community you need to get over overwhelm and chronic stress without making it feel more pressure? And so that's what this is, Monique. So let me know if I answered your question. So the link is in the chat, and on the website, we break everything down. What is the Go Handle Club? What is it designed to do? And how does it work? All of those questions are answered on the website. We got another caller coming in, y'all. Y'all ready for one more person before we hop off of here? Laverne is about to join us. So we'll get some more from the audience in a moment, but we're going to get Laverne in here. He's going to join us. He has some questions. And so I'm going to let him in. I think he'll just be on audio only. Oh, no, I think he'll be on video. Laverne, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, ma'am. How are you?
Good. First things, check in. Do you have your Go Handle, sir?
That's
Okay. Very good. Now we cooking. Now we can let your questions in, sir. How can I serve?
Yes. So my question is based on basically business, right? I've already written a book. It's completed, Coach Lisa. And I know that you are in the process as well. Probably already finished your book. So I wanted to get some insight from you as before I put it into the editor's hands, because some of my questions was already answered when you was answering Dr. Candace's questions.
Okay.
But yes, that's where I want some feedback on and today.
Okay. So you want some feedback on how to get the book finished or what to do with the book? Like, tell me which part.
Yeah. So get the book finished.
Okay.
And the audience that, I have, what to do with the book.
Okay. How to sell the book? Is like, how do I move the book? Is this?
Yeah. How to move the book. Yeah.
So Laverne said, I was in the lab. I created the product. Now I got to move the product, right? Okay. Got it. Okay. So first, finishing the book with the editor. I know we talked about this before in private, but did you actually talk to the editor and you guys have a plan for moving forward and get to the finish line?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one in place now because I had 3, and this last one I got in place. So I just wanted to speak with you before I hit the button in this segment.
Okay. All right. So first of all, making sure that the book is a good piece of work, right? So making sure it wasn't rushed in any way. Read through it in, this draft if you need to, because the thing that's going to make the difference on the other side, like when we start getting sales for you for the book, Laverne, the things that's going to make the difference on the other side and on how far we can take this is the quality of that initial product, right? So we can go in the lab and we can put a product together, but did we do it with our best? And so making sure the book is exactly what you intended it to be. Don't be so pressed about rushing it to be finished that you don't prioritize excellence. So make sure you're communicating with the editor. Here's what I like. Here's what I don't like. Here's what I want to build out that I don't know how to say. Here's how I want to make sure I convey my story so that it resonates with the people it was intended for. So first things first, for us to be successful in business, we have to create a good body of work. Okay. So once you've checked that box and you like, yes, Coach Lisa, this book, this is the best I feel like I could do where I am right now, right? I feel really good about this. I would give it to anybody. I don't have any insecurities or hangups about this body of work. Now what we have to do is create a platform to make sure that people know that the book exists, who it's for, and what it can do for them. So I would recommend, because the book is based on your story, right? And your story and with recovery, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Very personal book. Very personal. Mm-hmm. Is it essentially kind of like your autobiography? Are you kind of telling your story or are you more teaching addiction? Where are you coming from in the book?
Telling my story, but there's also some statistics in there on addiction.
Okay. So it's a very personal story that you've put in this book, right? which means we want to see the man behind the story. Okay. So this is not a book where I'm teaching all of this science and teaching the science behind addiction. I'm telling a personal story. I'm telling my recovery story. I'm imagining it's meant to inspire other people to have the same outcome. Is that right? Okay. Inspirational. We need you to show up somewhere online and start telling your story. So this is going to look like some type of social media platform or a YouTube channel where you're coming on and saying, here's where I was, here's where I am, and here's how I got here. And if you want to take that same journey, here's the book. Okay. So we elevate the book by starting with your real voice. Okay. So now let me ask you a real belief mindset question, Laverne.
Yes.
Okay. That's a real tactical how-to. But how does it feel for you when I say you now need to become a public figure, show up and start talking to strangers online?
Yeah.
That part.
Confident. Yeah, that part. Yes.
Okay.
Because I have a YouTube channel, but I have recorded a couple of sessions on there, and one of them was 44 minutes long, no volume. You can't even hear it. And I thought that was my best one. That was my best one, So I have like 4 episodes on there. It's consistency over comfort.
Yeah.
That's the handle. So yes, but the confidence, I've been on stages, I've spoken before, but those are people that I know.
Yes.
Those are not people that I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes.
And it's the people that you don't know that got the money to buy that book. So, okay. So listen, and more importantly, because the people that you do know got the money too, but more importantly, there's way more people that you don't know, which means we have way more opportunities for revenue and impact, right? We want both. We want income and impact. We ain't got to choose. Okay. So tell me then, so I can coach you properly, okay? Because this is not a practical how-to question. It sounds like this is a mindset question. Tell me what is causing your confidence to be lower than what you want it to be. Tell me the belief or the story that's there that's preventing you from being able to do this work.
I guess the belief, I have some speech impediment, and that gets in the way sometimes. That's the main thing. That's the only thing. I don't have anything else.
Okay, speech impediment where? Because I've been talking to you for months and you sound amazing. So tell me what you hear. This is serious because I understand when we look at ourselves and we observe ourselves, we see stuff. So you talk very clear to me. So tell me about the speech impediment. What is it?
It's my voice that I don't like.
The sound of your voice?
Sound of my voice. Because I've never heard it like this before.
Okay.
And also, it's like when you were saying that the brain fog, when it comes in and you need to go ahead and continue your thought process, because nobody knows you made a mistake until you stop and say that you made a mistake, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody can detect that you made a mistake at that point. But yeah, that's what it is, Coach Lisa. It's that. And, sometimes I want to move ahead of my thought. My thoughts are going 1,000 miles a minute. So I want to get this out. But the thought, and it comes out sometimes, and it's not on one accord. So yeah, that's where it is.
Okay. That's super helpful. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So sometimes my brain is moving faster than my mouth and it don't come out the way I intended. Is that right? Okay. So let me answer this in a couple of ways. The first is the way you get more comfortable with the sound of your voice is by listening to it more.
Right.
Okay. So instead of recording, posting, and running, like post it in there, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to look at it, I can't stand to watch it, you know what I mean?
Right.
You do just the opposite. So I listen, to my podcast episodes. I listen to the YouTubes. I listen. So the way you start getting comfortable with it is you start listening to it more. So not just to get comfortable with it, but also to coach yourself. So I listen, Laverne, and I say, oh my God, why do I say like every other word? What's with all these ums? You talk too slow here. You
Yes.
talk too fast here. I'm not listening to beat myself up. I'm listening to be better. Okay. So absolutely, you might cringe every now and then where you listen to yourself like, oh, I sound crazy. But a good speaker, a good orator, a good teacher, a good athlete watches their own tapes. That's how they know how to get better. Okay. So you absolutely want to study yourself. So become a student of yourself, record and listen back to it and do it over and over again until it becomes less about how you sound and more about getting better. Okay. Now, the part about I got all these thoughts and I want it to come out eloquently. I want it to come out nice, right? I don't want it to be jumbled. I want it to make sense, whatever. So, number one, doing what you've already done, which is diet. Sounds crazy, but a lot of times when our mind is moving too fast, this is called hyperactivity. Okay, so I got all these tabs open in my mind at one time. I'm trying to make sense of it. I'm trying to organize this stuff. We have to stop eating stuff that causes hyperactivity in the mind. So if you want your thoughts to be more succinct, if you want to be more clear, if you want to control things and slow it down and so that you can talk more clear, things aren't moving too fast, the first step is to control what we put in our mouth so that it doesn't negatively impact our brain. That is the sugar, that is food dyes, that is MSG, that is a bunch of caffeine, all of that, it causes that hyperactivity in the mind. And so when we remove all of that, we can slow down all of the busyness. Okay. Now, next part is this is about preparation. So if you're going to record a YouTube video, you can absolutely just turn the camera on and just talk. However, you can also prepare. So when I do these Monday morning keynotes on YouTube, I like to think ahead of time. What's my topic? What story do I plan to tell? What lesson do I plan to teach? What offer do I plan to make? So if you might you might say, okay, I'm going to do this series on my YouTube channel where I want to do like a 4 or 5 part series, really telling my story, how I came into addiction, how I realized I had an addiction, how I began to get out of addiction. Let me sit down and kind of map that out. Over the next 5 episodes, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. So I have my topic for the episode. Now, so for episode 1, I'm only going to talk about my childhood and the things I believe happened that led to addiction. Okay. So we're going to stay in a pocket for episode 1. Now I'm going to think about what's the biggest, the most impactful story that I could tell from my childhood that I think will resonate with people. But then what is the takeaway? I need to teach them how to think. So what do I want them to leave with? So what's the story? What's the lesson? And what's the offer? I want you to ask yourself that every time you create content. What's the story? What's the lesson? And what's the offer? And I'm going to outline that episode. I'm not going to try and write it out word for word. I still want it to be organic, but I want to stay succinct. So I'm going to pick only one part of my life to talk about, and we'll do the rest in the rest of this series. I'm going to tell one major story that really can resonate with people and get that emotional connection with my audience. And then I'm going to tell them the lesson that they should take from that story. Okay. And then I'm going to make the offer, which is get on a wait list for my book when it comes out. Or when the book comes out, the offer is going to be buy the book if you want to hear the full story, especially in chapter 2. When I say this, right, you're going to say something specific that make it really drive it home. So what's the story? What's the lesson? What's the offer? So kind of have a template for every time you want to speak. And you can use this template whether you're on a stage in person or whether you're on YouTube. What's the lesson? What's the story? What's the offer? Okay. And that's what we want to do. And that way I can be a little more, I don't have to feel the pressure of saying everything right now. Like we can save some sauce and save some juice for the next installment, for the next episode. Don't put your pressure on yourself to say everything right now. And then the final, and this is just a tool that I'll give you, and then I'll let you ask any follow-up questions, is if you do want to be scripted, if you do like Coach Lisa, I don't want to miss anything because every time I do it, I listen back and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say this. I forgot to say that. If you want to be scripted, then there's apps you can download that allows the words to be on the screen. What is that called, y'all? When the words is on the screen? What is it called, Laverne? A teleprompter. Teleprompter apps. So there's teleprompter apps that you can download on your device and the words are coming on the screen and you just read them because you've uploaded the script. But you got to be careful because you don't want to look like you're reading. You still needs to be organic. But that's a tool you can use sometimes if you need it, right? But I would say just outline every time. So preparation is what helps your thoughts to be more succinct. Studying your tapes is what helps you fall in love with the sound of your voice instead of hating the sound of your voice. And studying those tapes is also how you become a better speaker. So don't post and run from your content, but post and study your content.
That's great. That's great. Yes, I like that. I like that because when I was in school, they said, what topic, body, conclusion. So I like your, what you just gave me because you got the story, the lesson, and then the offer, and how you broke it down into episodes. Wow. Thank you, Coach.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the first episode would be my childhood.
That's it.
That's exactly where all of this came from. That's exactly where it came from. So all of this. So, okay, I got that. So I have a proposal that the editor sent me, right? And he said that, okay, these are the platforms. These are the letters that he's going to send out to these recovery institutions, to high schools, to elementary schools, and to correctional facilities. So he said that all of that, we can send them out and things of that nature. He also said that we can, you're going to put it on Amazon and a couple of more platforms, right? So I just wanted to hear your voice in my head telling me that I'm doing the right thing, because I don't want to. I went through 3 other authors and, I told you how that was, but editors, I'm sorry, but I told you exactly how that was. So just wanted to get some insight and I got some clarity here this morning. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to answer this last bit. Okay. So your editor said, I want to put some proposals together and basically pitch your book to institutions that focus on addiction, right?
Right.
Brilliant. Okay. So first of all, it's brilliant because it's nothing like having sniper-like precision with an offer. So you can put an offer together. So your book is an offer, right? So you can have an offer and you can just put it out in the world and hope anybody and everybody bites. And usually that means nobody bites, right? When we're not. Or you can put an offer together and you can be specific on who you market it toward and push it toward. So with your book being about your personal story of overcoming an addiction, and now he's going to shop it around to correctional institutions, to recovery centers, there's no better place for your book to be on the shelf. Right? Now, here's how we can turn the offer up. Okay. You come with the book. So not only do we want to sell the book in bulk, wholesale to these institutions, right? We want to say, and Laverne's going to come in and he's going to do a reading. He's going to do a keynote, right? And he's going to break down his story. That's going to entice them to want to read it even more. Oh man, this is the man behind the story. You're going to tell your story. They're going to feel the emotion. You're going to get personal. You're going to tell some stuff that's not even in the book. And now it's hotcakes. So I need you to put together a keynote that will accompany the book in these institutions. And you sell yourself and the book to the institution. You're going to get me, and I want you to buy 500 copies of the book. And all of that is only going to cost you the low price of, right? So you're going to sell a keynote plus wholesale copies of the book. You go in there and you tell your story and you speak from the heart. You don't have a speech impediment, Laverne. It's all in your head. You sound amazing. You talk very clear. It's very succinct. And more importantly, if you do stutter or stammer every now and then, like we all do, that just makes you even more human. So when you get in front of these individuals in these recovery centers and in these correctional institutions and in these places that are struggling with addiction, they're going to see themselves in you. So you have your editor absolutely shop that book around, but you have them shop you too. I'm going to need a speaking fee plus I'm going to need you to buy this many copies of the book. And I'm going to come in, and when they shop you around, You're happy to do it one time, but the sweet spot is if you have me come for a recurring series and let me work with the inmates or let me work with your people in your institution and let me come back over a series of 3 to 5 sessions and let me really work intimately with them using the book as the foundation. Read the book. By the time I come back, make sure you've read this many chapters. Here's what we're going to talk about next. So now we're doing what? Bringing the book to life. Okay. So that's what I would recommend, just to put a little gasoline on that offer, is pitch yourself as a speaker, a presenter, do some lunch and learns, do some keynotes, and be okay with doing it for free. You want to be paid. But if they say, well, we got the budget to buy books, but we can't necessarily put a speaker honorarium in there, that's okay. Work the circuit, and go in there, speak, get you some footage. But most importantly, you get you some reps in and get your confidence up. So be okay with doing some stuff for free, because the return is going to come back one way or another from the audience.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank God. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for agreeing to be public and ask your question so that we could bless a bunch of people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye, Laverne. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Cheers to you. So good. Amen. Laverne got the white gold handle. Y'all better get in the club. See what y'all missing? This offer was only made to gold handle members, by the way. Thank you, Laverne. Guys, I really hope that blessed you guys and that Laverne question blessed you today. And I see we got a couple questions in the chat. Let me see if I could do a rapid fire, because I think me and Kiwi got to meet in just a few minutes here. But I saw one or two I want to make sure I get to from you guys. Okay, Sierra says, just finished my project management certification from DePaul last night. Congratulations, Sierra. Woke up with the idea of return of investment, and then here you are. Here I am. Confirmation. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. For a beginner to your work in this space, where would you suggest I start with what you offer for new professionals for this industry? Okay, Sierra. So this is a question about what we offer inside of Clarity and where should you start with us. So Sierra, that would depend on what the current priority is for you. If the current priority for you is your personal health and getting your body and or mind. So personal health is not just from the neck down. It's also like, coach, mentally, emotionally, I'm working on some confidence stuff. I'm working on insecurities. I'm working on brain fog. I'm working on being creative and honoring my creativity. That's health, right? So if it's a health thing, like with mindset or physical health, then you would start with our Go Handle Club. Great place to start. If business is a priority for you, because you just finished your project management cert and you're ready to get an ROI from that investment in your education, and you want to be an entrepreneur, service-based business, then our mastermind is where you would start with us, our Clarity Mastermind, where I help service-based entrepreneurs build their offer and launch them into the marketplace. And so you tell me, it depends on what your personal priority is, and I can tell you which one of our offers is best. We also just have a free community that you can come into, Sierra, and, kind of feel around, look around, and see where you want to start. And so the name of our community is called Clarity. And you can also just come into the free community. If anyone's not in my Clarity community, which is 100% complimentary, join my free community dedicated to eliminating chronic stress, optimizing your health, and activating radical obedience. Okay, next question. Brizzy Bree, what's up, my homie Brianna, my girl? How do you navigate that in-between space where you're not entirely in survival anymore, but not fully in your potential flourishing either? Both feel like they fluctuate in a gravitational pull. Amen. I would say, even though your external circumstances are not fully there, make sure your mindset is. That's how you get there quicker. So Brianna said, how do I navigate that space in between survival mode and fully thriving, full potential overflow, right? It's going to be where your mind is. If you find yourself constantly going back and forth between the two circumstantially, it might be because your mind hasn't fully arrived on the abundant side yet. So look out for and address any and every limiting belief that may keep pulling you back to survival. There's not enough of something. I don't want to invest in myself because I'm afraid of spending money because I don't think there's more where this came from. Like, address any lingering beliefs around scarcity that still exist. The thing that typically keeps us toggling back and forth between survival and overflow is where our mindset is. Is your mindset in overflow? Is your mindset consistently in abundance? So if there's any limiting beliefs, any beliefs that are keeping you, or any stories that's keeping you kind of still making decisions that you made when you were fully in survival mode, that's what needs to be addressed right now in that season. That's what you do in the space in between, is you work on making sure your mindset is 100% on the abundant side. And then you'll find that you'll be able to stay over there consistently. That was a good question, Brianna. Wanda says, where do I put the starting focus? This is the last one, y'all, because I know I got to go. Where do I put the starting focus when so many needed downloads are coming? I just keep noting them. Oh, what a blessing. Wanda's asking about blessings. What do I do with all these blessings? Where do I start with focusing when so many downloads are coming? Man, okay, first of all, recognize it as a blessing, right? So what's happened is you've gotten healthy enough to finally receive what God has been trying to deliver. So a lot of times when we have that brain fog and we feel like everything's foggy and it's just unclear, and then we have that moment where it seems like the road opens up, traffic clears, and things are flowing, that's a blessing. You've done the work to become that, right? So when you consistently get those divine downloads, first of all, pat yourself on the back for arriving at a place of clarity. Now, which one do I pluck out the air and work on first, right? Well, that depends on which bucket is the lowest. So where's the biggest need for you right now? Is the biggest need in your health? Is it in your career? Is it in a particular relationship? Is it in your environment? Like, I know for me, I got to a place where I was like, I got to get out of Michigan. I got to move. I got to get out of here. I needed to relocate like yesterday, right? And so where is the biggest need right now? What bucket is the lowest? And then you take the divine download that's affiliated with that bucket and you run with it. So God gives us the divine downloads, but then because of the free will he's also given us, we now have to do what? Make decisions. Sometimes feeling like you're all over the place comes from having options, but having options that feel overwhelming comes from indecisiveness. So you have to make a decision about where you're going to start, like what area of your life is going to be the priority. Is it going to be your marriage? Is it going to be the relationship with your babies? Is it going to be the business you want to start? Is it going to be your physical health? Is it going to be healing from childhood disappointment? Like there's so many places. Is it going to be your money? Is it going to be your spirituality? So you have free will to make a decision. You have to make a decision. And from there, we can take the divine downloads associated with that area and go crazy. Okay? All right, that's it. And that's all. I got to roll. So it's been a pleasure. I hope to see every single one of you and all of your friends inside of the Go Handle Club. If you want to get coached by me on a daily basis, if you love the way I teach, the way I answer questions, and you want that optimal health, you want to activate radical obedience and get God a return on his investment in you, and you want to eliminate chronic stress, then my newest coaching experience, the Her Method, is where you need to be. So that's embedded inside of a daily ritual that we created with the Go Handle Club. And I'm hoping you guys take advantage of that so you can get the coaching you need without it feeling like another overwhelming experience that you can't handle. So the Go Handle Club is the place to start. You want to go to goldhandleclub.com, goldhandleclub.com, and join us in the club. I think that is the best way to get coached by me on a daily basis, plus live in person every Thursday mornings for the Go Handle gathering on Zoom, right? And so you also get the feedback on what you're learning in the Go Handle Club through the QR code. You get that live Thursday morning, 45 minutes out of your week. And that's optional, right? And that's totally optional. So it's a very low pressure, low to no overwhelm coaching experience. So it's not self-guided. You're not being forced to figure it all out. You have that human interaction, you have the community, and then you have the coaching, but you get to set it up so that it's not another overwhelming task to do. Okay, with that being said, love y'all. Have an amazing day. Until then, bye y'all.
You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, Visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.